Stop waiting for someone to validate your dreams. Nobody's coming to hand you permission to be great. The world only respects results, not excuses. You don't need approval. You need courage. Every second you hesitate, someone else is out there doing what you keep planning. It's time to stop seeking acceptance and start taking action. Bet on yourself, because if you don't believe in your own power, no one else will. You keep waiting for somebody to give you the green light. Your boss, your parents, your friends, somebody to tell you it's okay to move, to dream, to chase what's burning inside you. But let me tell you something. Nobody gave me permission to start. Nobody looked at me when I was homeless and said, E.T., you're the one. When I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, trying to survive day by day, there wasn't a single person cheering me on. I had to make a decision, either keep waiting for somebody to save me or get up and save myself. Some of you are gifted, talented, chosen, but you're stuck because you keep waiting for validation. You keep looking for approval from people who don't even believe in themselves. You're waiting for a teacher to notice you, for a friend to support you, for a family member to believe in your dream. But dreams don't work like that. Nobody is required to believe in you. That's your job. You got to allow some bitch other. You got to give yourself permission to start. Paint it. When I was trying to get my GED, I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't have money. I didn't have stability. All I had was a desire to not stay where I was. I remember walking past that school every single day, knowing I wasn't enrolled, knowing I didn't belong there. But something in me said, you belong in that building. So I walked in scared, unprepared, but hungry. And that hunger, not a degree, not a connection, not a handout, that hunger gave me permission. Manna, you don't need the world to agree with you before you move. You don't need all the answers before you take the first step. Or I me to decide, right? You just need to decide that you're done waiting. You got to stop asking for a seat at the table and start building your own table. Because the moment you stop waiting for permission is the moment you take your power back. But nobody's coming to crown you. Nobody's coming to hand you the opportunity. The crown belongs to the one who keeps moving when nobody claps. Baron. So stop waiting and start becoming asterisk. Listen to me. Self-belief isn't something somebody gives you. It's something you build. Nobody handed me confidence. Nobody looked at me and said, you're going to make it. I had to believe in me when everything around me told me I shouldn't. When I was living on the streets, when people told me I'd never be anything, when I couldn't even see a future for myself, that's when belief mattered most. It's easy to believe when everything is going right, when you've got support, when doors are opening. But when life hits you in the mouth, when everything you touch falls apart, that's when you find out what kind of belief you really have. I used to think success started with opportunity. I used to think I had to wait for the right people, the right timing, the right situation. But I learned the hard way that opportunity doesn't matter if you don't believe in yourself enough to grab it. Self-belief is the foundation. It's the voice that says, I can, when the world says you can't. It's what keeps you going when logic says stop. When I went back to get my degree, I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't the most prepared. But I told myself, I belong here. Every time I failed, I repeated it again. I belong here. I didn't wait for anyone to tell me that. I had to build that voice in my own head. Man, some of you keep doubting yourself because you've never seen someone like you make it. You keep thinking you need more talent, more money, more support. No, you need more belief. Because belief turns average into unstoppable. When you believe in yourself, you stop begging people to see your worth. You start showing it. You stop chasing validation. You start creating results. Remember, I had people walk away. I had people laugh at me. I had people tell me I was dreaming too big. But every single time I reminded myself, their opinion can't stop my purpose. That's what self-belief does. It gives you power over your own story. Mind this, you can't win if you don't first believe you deserve to. Get bearing so belief so loud that doubt can't even hear itself speak. You keep waiting to have it all figured out before you move. You want the plan to make perfect sense. You want every step mapped out, every risk guaranteed. But let me tell you something. Life doesn't work like that. You don't get clarity before you take action. You get clarity because you take action. When I started my journey, I didn't know what the next step looked like. I didn't know where I'd end up. I just knew I couldn't stay where I was. Vendor, when I was homeless, I wasn't thinking about becoming a speaker. I wasn't thinking about inspiring millions. I was just trying to survive. I didn't have a year vision board or a business plan. I just made a decision. I'm not going to die in this situation. And once I started moving, once I started putting one foot in front of the other, doors began to open. I met people I never would have met sitting still. Opportunities came that I couldn't have imagined. You don't find your path by standing still. You find it by walking, by falling, by getting back up. Some of you are paralyzed because you want certainty. You're scared to fail, scared to make the wrong move. But failure isn't the opposite of clarity. It's the process that builds it. I failed more times than I can count. I've spoken to rooms where nobody was listening. I've poured my heart into projects that didn't work out. But each one of those moments taught me something that standing still never could. Every no shaped my yes. Every mistake gave me direction. Man, the problem is you're so focused on getting it right that you're not even getting started. You're waiting on confirmation when all you need is movement. Stop asking for a guarantee. The only guarantee is that nothing changes if you don't move. Don't let fear of not knowing stop you from discovering what's possible. Man, I didn't know what was next for me when I took that first step. But I knew I wasn't going to let confusion be the reason I quit. Like in the Myra Irons, you don't need all the answers, just enough courage to take the first step. Asterisk, I used to think rejection meant I wasn't good enough. Every time I heard no, it felt like a punch to the gut. I remember sending out applications and getting nothing back, reaching out for opportunities and getting doors slammed in my face. And in those moments, I questioned myself. Maybe I wasn't built for this. Maybe I was reaching too high. But over time, I realized something powerful. Rejection wasn't punishment. It was redirection. Every door that closed on me was leading me to something better, something that fit my purpose more than I could see at the time. And yeah, when I was trying to get into certain schools, when I wanted to speak on certain stages, people overlooked me. They didn't see the value. They didn't see the gift. And for a long time, that hurt. But here's what I learned. Sometimes people have to reject you so that you can stop depending on them for validation. Sometimes God allows those doors to close so you'll build your own. Like if they had said yes too early, I might have settled. I might have stopped growing. That rejection taught me resilience, taught me how to work in silence, how to build when nobody believed. See, rejection forces you to look within. It's easy to think something's wrong with you, but most of the time, that no is just life's way of saying, not here, not yet. When I look back, every single no I got prepared me for the yes that mattered most. If I hadn't been denied, I wouldn't have developed the toughness to handle the opportunities I have now. Mainda, some of you are still crying over the door that closed. And you don't realize that the hallway you're standing in is leading to something greater. Stop letting rejection make you bitter. Let it make you better. Let it shape your focus, sharpen your drive, and build your character. You can't let someone's refusal define your worth. Every time I got turned down, I got stronger. Every time someone said I wasn't ready, I went back and got better. Rejection didn't stop me. It refined me. Byron, rejection isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your strength. When I was trying to turn my life around, one of the hardest lessons I had to learn was that not everyone could come with me. I had friends I loved, people I grew up with, people who had my back when I had nothing. But the moment I started changing, the moment I started thinking bigger, they made me feel like I was doing too much. I realized I couldn't grow in the same environment that broke me. I couldn't become the best version of myself surrounded by people who were comfortable being average. Some of you are struggling right now, not because you don't have potential, but because you're surrounded by people who don't push you to use it. Man, when I was grinding to get my GED, I remember being around people who laughed at me for trying. They said, man, why are you wasting your time? You think a piece of paper is going to change your life? They didn't understand. It wasn't about the paper. It was about proving to myself that I could finish something. But if I had listened to them, if I had stayed around that mindset, I'd still be stuck where they are. Sometimes you've got to separate from comfort to reach clarity. You've got to get around people who make you uncomfortable in the right way. People who make you stretch, who make you think bigger, who challenge you. When I tell you to bet on yourself, I'm not talking about hype. I'm talking about commitment. I'm talking about putting everything you got into your own potential, even when the odds don't look good. I remember when I had nothing, no degree, no money, no plan. People looked at me and saw failure, but I looked in the mirror and saw a chance. A small one, yeah, but a chance. I had to make a decision that I wasn't going to let my circumstances define me. I was going to invest in me, even when nobody else saw the return. Man, there were times I didn't know where my next meal was coming from. Nights I slept in abandoned buildings, cold, hungry, tired, and I still told myself, you're not done yet. I bet on that version of me, the one with no comfort, no backup plan, but all heart. See, when you bet on yourself, you stop waiting for luck to find you. You start creating your own momentum. You stop asking for opportunity and you start preparing for it. People think faith means waiting. No, faith means moving. It means working when there's no applause, no recognition, no visible progress. When I decided to get my GED, I didn't have the money for classes, but I found a way. When I decided to go to college, I didn't have the grades, but I kept knocking on doors until someone gave me a shot. And when I wanted to speak, nobody handed me a stage. I built one out of every setback, every failure. That's what it means to bet on yourself. It means believing that the work you put in today will pay off tomorrow, even when you can't see how. Some of you are still waiting for someone else to believe in you before you start. You want someone to validate your dream before you chase it. Stop doing that. You are the investment. You are the brand. You are the business. The question isn't whether you're capable, it's whether you're willing to commit to yourself the way you commit to everybody else. Plan dance, because the moment you decide to bet on yourself, truly, fully, unapologetically, that's the moment your life changes. Yet this asterisk, the greatest risk you'll ever take is not betting on yourself. It's living like you don't have anything worth betting on.